Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the ABCs of TPBs. This is your host, Ninja Dave, and with me co-hosting is The Seed. We're in the R's. This is the 18th episode of ABCs of TPBs, and we both chose our R's accordingly.
We did. That's what we do on this show.
It is what we do. That's kind of our thing.
Yes.
What am I saying? So my R for this month was Rat Queens, and then his R is Rai, and I even went the extra mile on this one. I even went back and got the original Rai from the original Valiant run.
All right,
just so I can add
some extra flavor.
Yeah.
So you actually read it though.
I read it.
Okay, so
I read it.
That's
yeah, it's not just for
good.
show. It's just not a pretty face that no one can see on the podcast.
Before we start, I want to start by saying your place smells wonderful, Dave.
Thank you.
Smells wonderful.
What does it remind you of?
A home well lived in.
Thank you.
Yes.
My wonderful lady made pork katsu last night.
Pork katsu.
So it's kind of a breaded pork, and
I've had chicken katsu many times.
Chicken katsu, yes. we know about the was it banchan and other places. Yeah, so
lived in Korea for a couple of years, sir. I survived on chicken katsu.
Well, that too. I mean, you got the authentic stuff.
Yes, I do.
How does the local fare?
Nah.
Yeah, go to Korea.
Yeah, go to Korea. Fly all the way out to Korea. Get yourself. Don't worry, TSA's not going to be there to check your shit.
Right.
Fly on out there and get you some chicken katsu in your life, preferably from Happy Teriyaki.
Happy Teriyaki. I'll remember that.
Yes.
What's been going on with you before we get this episode started?
Oh, no, nothing. Paprika chugs along in 2019. Patreon, people.
Yeah.
If you're, I'm not sure if this is the only show you listen to on the Paprika channel, but we have Patreon. Patreon.com/Paprika Podcast. Trying to up this business to the next level, and we can't do that without a couple extra smacks in the pocket. So yeah,
we've got some a good surge of support so far. How many paprikans?
Yeah,
Patreon paprikans do we have so far?
We've gotten, I think we're close to 30 now. We were somewhere in the 20s a little while back. We're close to 30 now.
That is way more than one.
That is way more than one. Keep
pushing.
Keep pushing, man.
Tax season is right around the corner.
There you go.
So just keep paprika in mind.
Right around the corner. Just keep us in mind when you get that refund. A couple of bucks our way would mean a little something.
Don't mind skipping ahead 10 minutes. We'll still be talking about pushing the Patreon. So
That's it, man. That's it. All the other shows on the network are doing their thing. We got some stuff in the works over in Paprika, and we'll see how that all pans out later.
Okay, sounds good. Do the Patreon. We'll start this thing off. Rat Queens, Volume 1, Sass and Sorcery. So, Rat Queens is another Image joint.
Yes, it is indeed.
This one is written by Curtis Wiebe. Wiebe.
Wiebe?
Wiebe? W-I-E-B-E.
I don't know.
Wibe?
I'll get him on the phone. All right.
Vibba?
I'll give him
Maybe it's a Vibba. We've got Rock Upchurch, which, that name is just...
That rat bastard.
It's so great. It's cool. He's a cool dude.
Oh, is he now?
Yeah. I mean, have you dealt with Rock before? We'll get into it. All right, what else? So he's done the art for the covers there. Ed Brisson's done the letters. Laura Tavashati has done the edits.
This is Image Shadowline joint, an offshoot of Image Comics.
What can you tell us about the Image Shadowline? I don't know. Is it like DC Vertigo?
Yeah, I've heard, because Image isn't just Image Comics. They have Image Shadowline. They have Image Skybound, which is a whole bunch of Kirkman-led things. I do believe.
Like an established universe?
The Walking, just Kirkman projects. Or Kirkman with his hands in. I think Walking Dead is Image Skybound. His newest book, Oblivion Song, is Image Skybound. I think Invincible finally went over to Image Skybound after a while. Okay. But yeah, that's kind of Kirkman's score. Image picked up Top Cow, I do believe. So yeah, it's Image, and then there's Image affiliates, and Shadowline is just one of the affiliates. I'm not sure how they determine who gets what You know what, man? There's somebody I can ask about that. I want to ask about that.
Yeah, I feel like we know enough people in the industry where we can be like, hey.
Yeah, I know. If I have
enough people are on Twitter.
Former image editor that I talk to every once in a while. I want to ask him about that.
Do that. Maybe we can give our fans the update of the next episode.
Boom.
But Rat Queens follows a team of adventurers, all female, all women, all heart. And it's very much in a D&D style kind of setting. It's almost as like you've been brought in on a Dungeons and Dragons playthrough.
Yeah,
a lot of references to your standard RPG fare, and it's just hilarious. The characters we have Betty, and I'll read just doing the meet the queens here. Betty, tequila, vodka, and 2 magic mushrooms. They call it the Betty. D. My parents worship a giant flying squid. Holidays get weird. Hannah. I've conjured a little fuck you. And Violet. I know my sword is designer. I use it ironically. So we get into this where the Rat Queens, they are they're one of many groups in this city, charged with essentially keeping the peace, keeping the monsters at bay, what have you. And they are also known as the rabble rousers. They're the troublemakers.
Yeah, they're the troublemakers. Yeah. Although I assume the other adventurers probably get into a little bit of trouble, these other groups, but
none so much as
record. Which one would you belong to, Dave?
Which it might have to be the 4 Daves.
Okay, so you belong to the 4 Daves.
Well, who would you belong to? We got the Rat Queens, we got Peaches, we got the 4 Daves, Brother Ponies, Obsidian Darkness.
So I'm not a female, so I feel like the Rat Queens wouldn't allow me into their group.
Well, I mean, cross-dressing and also sex changing is a thing. I mean, it's whatever you want to.
My name's not Dave, so that one's out automatically.
Fair enough.
I feel like I'm gonna go with the Brother Ponies, man.
Brother Ponies?
Yeah. They seem like some pretty confident dudes. They get shit done. Actually, no, they all die, but
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah. Sorry for Brother Ponies.
Well, I mean, maybe are you in that My Little Pony fair? Friendship is magic. Are you a brony, good sir?
No, I'm not a brony, sir. I'm a friend of Friendship is Tragic.
Friendship is Tragic. I haven't seen that series.
Oh yeah.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah, that series is called Life.
Seriously. But we follow these adventurers through the story. Like I said, just tons of quips. I was really surprised at the amount of humor employed in this book.
Yeah, I'd heard about Rat Queens when I went to New York City Comic Con in 2014. And I'd seen Rock Up Church do a couple of interviews. That's how it came to my. I think he was on a panel with a couple other Image people. That's when I first heard about it. But I was like, I think I looked at the cover and I was like, I don't know if that's my thing or not.
Right.
So I didn't know much about it going into this. This is my first time reading it.
This is my first time reading it as well.
Really?
I've downloaded. I've downloaded quite a few of the issues in the past. Just it was on a hard drive somewhere. Just hadn't gotten around to getting to it. But now I actually went out to Comixology and purchased this. Redeemed myself, some might say, and started reading. What was the initial punch for you? Your initial reaction when you started reading?
I really enjoyed it from the outset, man. I was like, okay, I'm all in on this. I dig this art, and it starts out just fun. You know that each character has kind of their own voice. You kind of get a good sense of each of the Rat Queens individually and who they are, and it's just a fun journey to follow through. And like you said, it is set up kind of like a D&D playthrough where you're just kind of like a third party observer. Yeah, I guess one could say. Yeah. If D&D is being played by some of the most immature people imaginable.
Right. I think that's kind of how it's supposed to go. That's how you build your parties.
Yeah.
Like, who is the most the social pariah among us? Let's bring them in. Let's bring Dave in.
Yeah.
Let's do that. For me, it was a little jarring at first to see just to hear the language that was being used. It seems, even though it's set in a medieval style world, a very sword and sorcery type of world, the language used was very contemporary.
Yeah, very modern.
Very modern. Yeah. So it took me a moment to kind of. I was thinking they were using it kind of ironically, but as I continued to read it fit with the story and it fit with the tone, and it was very much intentional.
Yes. Yeah.
The style, and it, for better or for worse, for me, it worked.
Now, what do you think about these rat queens being the rabble rousers? If you were in this land, do you think you get along with the rat queens?
I think I would, because I like the cut of their jib.
Okay.
They're rambunctious. I mean, you've got one who's a tiny
smidgen,
a tiny smidgen, yeah, but she's a nymphomaniac essentially.
Yeah. And a drug addict.
Yeah. She's got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, all these characters.
The smartest ones, the smallest one, she's got the biggest issues.
Yeah, it's like the characters they hit you hard right from the outset, and it's not done in a bad way.
She's very gleeful about her.
Yeah, she is loud and proud, man.
Yeah,
she's loud and proud. I mean, you've got the sorcerer, the kind of the dark magic, the dark mage, who she's got her own things going on. I mean, it's just the way they bring you into the characters and continue to reveal things about each of them as it goes along. It works very well.
Yes.
And I was just enjoying the ride.
What are your thoughts on some of these battle scenes we see out of them? How do you think they work as a team?
They work pretty well as a team. It reminded me of a lot of those, kind of League of Legends and like Skyrim, or I guess if you're doing more team based, League of Legends or like Overwatch, those types of things where everyone has their role and they play it to the kind of the best of their abilities. But there's a level of danger and people can die at any moment. But there's also there's magic that can bring people back from the brink of death. So there's a little bit of worry, but it seems as though death is not treated as like a major thing in this.
Oh, well, yeah, people that can heal wounds. So that isn't going to be treated all that major, really.
Well, but, then the ones that die are like, okay, well, this person bit it. Let's go celebrate them in the halls tonight.
Do you think that's just more they're just not jaded, but it's just maybe not the fact that death isn't treated as with as much gravitas as we do. They're just so used to it.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Because it happens so frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Pete's dead, huh? Well,
we started
let me
this
get
thing.
His backpack.
Yeah, we started this thing with like 5 teams, but you gotta have to wonder how many teams they had before we picked up in this story. How many got killed off before we were down to this 5?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I like the action sequences. They are surprisingly bloody. Surprisingly graphic.
They are. It is really great art by Zibi. Oh no, he's the writer. He's Upchurch. Yeah, Rock Upchurch.
The Rock.
It's some good art here. It's good art, and it does get violent.
Yeah,
it is. They don't shy away from it.
Not at all. And like, I mean, it's. You read a lot of comics like this and you're like, oh, these are titular heroes, they'll be all right, that kind of stuff. But there's stuff that happens and you're like, I don't know if this person's going to make it. Seriously. Yeah. And that's several times. And it's just the way it blends with the setting and the humor, it works well. I will say I will have one critique about some of the choreographed scenes. Sometimes they seem a bit like it jumps from one place to another. Like they'll show you what's happening, and then maybe several beats after the kind of the result of something. So it's let me go to a something specific here. When they were fighting the ogre, there was a scene where so they're all rushing at him here, and he swooshes and misses. They line up for the maneuver. She goes in for the stab.
Yeah.
She stabs, she slices, and I'm like, why is the ogre just standing there letting this stuff kind of happen? He's not really reacting. He's been so fast on these other attacks. It's not really showing. I mean,
okay,
I don't believe it. It's like at this point, I don't have any reason to believe that she is the one that's doing the damage. Is that fast?
Yeah.
And it's like there's a lot of kind of dead air.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
it almost seems like it's turn based. Like he's just sitting there waiting for them to make their maneuver so he can make his maneuver.
Almost, and maybe that is the thing for this one, but other fights have not been so kind of.
They're more fluid.
Yeah. You use the right words to describe things.
Yeah, the words are what they almost pay me to use.
Almost.
You can pay more with Patreon.
All right, there we go. Don't forget, it's patreon.com/Paprika Podcast.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
That arm break is just this. They don't come unscathed out of these fights.
Yeah. And it's like and the thing is they kind of treat it as if, hey, it's just another day in the park, which makes them seem even tougher, even more, just
badass.
Yeah. So you made the comment earlier that, hey, when I first started reading this, I was into it. Has something changed as you read through it?
No. I'm still. I enjoyed this read pretty much all the way through.
Okay.
I thought the story is weak. Okay. I think the story is the weakest part of this whole thing.
Really, the intrigue of
what's going on and who's maneuvering them behind the scenes.
Yeah.
All that is incredibly paper thin.
It's very paper thin.
It's paper thin. Like it's the story almost.
It's very Scooby Dooish.
Yeah, it's very Scooby Dooish. Every Scooby Doo could have been wrapped up in like the first 15 minutes. Let's be honest. And I'm not talking about like 15 minutes of showtime. I'm talking about their 15 minutes. They could have got there in 15 minutes later, been back in their car gassing up and getting up out of town.
Right.
I think the story takes a back seat to the characters. Mm-hmm. They kind of lets the characters breathe and do their own things, and they just kind of are where they need to be in order for the story to move forward. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of conveniences that were in there, and I'm like, all right, well, so had to see such and such happen, just so they could, further keep the plot rolling.
I absolutely agree with that. The characters are driving the story, because there are even side characters who I would prefer to, well, I don't say prefer, but I would also like to get more backstory. And
Gary, that's
Gary's one, and what's her name? Braga,
yes. There's a couple of great side characters, and and the dude who's Sawyer, the sergeant of arms here at this time.
Yeah, he's like the respectable guy.
Yeah,
he's not afraid to joke with his troops, but he also has that edge to him.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, it's you. It's like, hey, that was in my past. Don't worry about that.
One thing that I'm not 100% certain about is this scene right here.
Okay.
We know at the end of this scene that one of them is impersonating Sawyer.
Right.
But we don't know which is which, do we?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so it's the one that's coming in and says, fuck buckets. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the one that's telling him the good work. These stairs have never been safer.
Right, because then you see her thrown in jail.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. I couldn't figure out first time I read that. I was like, wait, is that the original guy, or is that the one that's doing the impersonation?
Right.
I like that guy. I feel like in more subsequent reading, we will get more information on what his whole backstory is. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the road in like volume 4 or something like that, he becomes an honorary rat queen, quote unquote.
Interesting.
Yes, interesting.
Yeah. I liked it, man. This was a definite go for me. It was fun. I was actually laughing out loud, as the youth say.
As the youth say, you were LOL.
I was ROFLAOM.
Let it go. Stop there.
Yeah, but I was my arrhythmias playing
up. We get just a little bit of each character. Like we know that the redhead is actually supposed to have a beard, which I thought was
where's
weird.
Your beard?
Yeah, where's your beard at? And she's got issues with
but the thing is,
the family and all that kind of stuff.
They established in the drunken, well, the pub scene. I don't say the drunken, but that'd be redundant. The pub scene where it's supposed to be established that all women are wearing beards, but it's just a new thing that women have started shaving.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I would like to see as the stories go on, kind of delve more deeper into each of these
lore.
Yeah.
It really is interesting. I was like, I want to learn more about them, and like I said, each character is so superb. They're written so well.
All
Yeah.
right. So
I'm going to have my daughter take a look at this one.
yeah. What do you think about this final whole battle scene here?
Like you said,
It moves, man.
It moves.
Yeah, it moves.
Like I said, the underlying story may be paper thin, but the stuff that happens is just, it's dynamic.
Yeah, I feel like the story is just sustainable enough to get you from action beat to action beat. Like most action movies of the 90s.
Yeah, I kind of feel that this is kind of this is truly the definition of a pilot, because those pilots are typically kind of weak, but they serve enough purpose to say, hey, here's who our people are, here's why you should be invested. This story arc may be kind of garbage, but you stick around for episode 2, and when we got the network funding, and now now we're going to bring it.
Now we're going to bring it. All right, so you said that you indeed would go with the volume 2 on.
Oh yes, I would, and I will.
All right, I do believe that I am in agreement with you, sir. I would, and I will.
All right, that's starting 2019 off on the right foot.
Starting 2019
Anytime
off on the right
that
foot.
one can agree with Dave, that's a good time.
Or you're just both horribly wrong.
Well, I won't. I don't entertain that option.
Okay, that's how life works.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
Okay, so yeah, that's a go from both of us, huh?
Yeah.
Best new series of 2013.
I'll add this too. This is kind of our follow-up thing. Since you like ads, apparently you like being pandered to.
I do.
Did you see any previews for other books that?
I don't think they had any in the back of this one. Oh yeah, I don't think they put any in the previews in the back of this particular joint. So no, no.
I'll say this as well, since we both read it on Comixology.
Did
you read it in?
There it is. All stuff this straight from Image Shadow line. None of this I've never even heard of.
Is anything you think like you're gonna try something out?
I'd have to sit here and read these to check it out.
Miniature Jesus,
there's a joint
perhaps?
called Miniature Jesus. Which
Mondo looks pretty interesting.
Heathen Town. In the swamps, death may only be a horrible beginning. Anna awakens an ancient evil bent on her destruction. Well, that's getting convenient for her. So yeah, I'm going to sit down and see what these joints is talking about.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Image Shadow line.
Since we both read it in our Comixology apps. Comixology, if you'd like to get that sweet ad revenue, from being on the Paprika podcast, just drop us a line.
Drop us a line.
You know where to find us.
You can reach out. I'll have my people talk to your people.
Yeah.
I've actually had the CEO of Comixology tweet me before.
Really?
I can't remember what it was about.
It's like, stop harassing me, stop standing outside my house. I will call the police seed.
I can't remember what it was. It was a series. That Comixology was suggesting or something like that, and I just replied to the either. I've been meaning to check this out, and then somebody responded with, "You check that out, man. You let me know what you think about it." And I saw that they were verified, and I was like, well, "Who is this dude? CEO of Comixology?" I was like, "Do you want me to respond directly to you, sir?"
I can.
I don't think you have time to just be engaged in random conversations. So you have a company to run.
I love your product. I'm just saying.
I love your enthusiasm, sir, but you got some more important things to do than talking to me. By the way,
don't be all Elon Musk here. You got some bigger fish to fry.
Also, you have any job openings?
Right.
All right, I think that's gonna do it, man.
That's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll hit this pause and then jump into the R's.
We're already in the R's.
I'm sorry.
We'll jump into the back half of these
the back half of the R's.
Yeah, we'll be right back with some Rai.
You retreat here, hiding in the shadows of this alley, because you don't want to face the truth of your existence. You made the deal with Malbolgia.
I came back for her, but she sees what a monster I am. I can't let that be the end of us.
You will only bring her more pain. Let her go.
I can't. I have to protect her from Jason Wynn.
You have brought this evil into her life. The stink of hell brought back from your master.
Master?
Who do you think wrapped you in that shroud? It was Malbolgia. Are you going to send him the dark soul of Jason Wynn?
Wynn had me murdered. He'll kill Wanda too if I don't stop him.
Your life and Jason Wynn's life have always been entwined. Malbolgia has been guiding both of you. You are blood brothers.
Who are you? How do you know these things?
Because he was once my master, too.
And we're back.
We are back.
Don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years.
We've been here for years. Yes. The Rai. This is we're going Valiant this time through. Rai with Matt Kent, the dude who writes what feels like 95% of the Valiant books, or did at one point.
Right.
Is the writer of this bad boy with Clayton Crane during the arts. Rai Volume 1. Mm-hmm. Welcome to New Japan. Mm-hmm. This is 4001 AD, so this is a future book right here. A little science fiction. Led by the artificial intelligence called Father. The island nation of Japan has expanded out of the Pacific and is in geosynchronous orbit with the ravaged Earth below. The one thing I like about this is that we haven't had a murder in 1,000 years.
Right. That sounds like that's
wholly implausible.
That's fiction at its highest level.
Like, word, y'all just got rid of pettiness, I guess, too, while you're at it. Yeah, billions defeated and protected, it has fallen to one solitary guardian to enforce the law of Father's empire. That does not seem feasible at all. It's Rai. Rai is the artificial intelligence Father's muscle, so to speak. And of course, in a land where they are quick to say we haven't had a murder in 1,000 years, what's the whole point of this volume? Somebody's been murdered. It's up to Rai to figure out who and what's going on. And of course, in that story, he unpacks a bigger story of all sorts of consequences. To be honest with you, the story that completely unfolds in this one volume is one that I would but one that I would expect to fold out over multiple volumes.
Right.
The big revelation
They blew their load
who
too
he is
soon.
and all that. Yeah. Now, granted, I don't know what happens in volumes 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. Like maybe that is just a stepping stone to an even bigger story.
Right.
But it did seem kind of that they blew their load too soon in revealing exactly who Rai is and what's going on here. What did you think about this story, Dave?
I felt very much the same. It was kind of cut down on my throat clearance here. I thought the story was a very weak, a very recycled, heavily reused trope.
Yeah.
Was not feeling it. The artwork itself was interesting.
The artwork is interesting. It's not hand drawn. It seems like maybe it's just digitally done.
It seems very digital.
Yeah.
But it also, even though it has that flashy digital, it is very nondescript. It doesn't stand out to me.
Yeah, the artwork is one of the few things I really appreciated about this book. I was like, all right, well, it's at least decent to look at, even though the story isn't quite there. It's at least decent to look at.
Yeah, it's all kind of blended together for me. It was like, you remember when we read Low, and like all the backgrounds in the foreground just kind of merged, and there's just so much stuff going on, but it's just like your eyes kind of glazed over.
You got the same thing here.
That's how I felt with this one.
Yeah. So in the first issue is about where I checked out. I read the whole thing, but the first issue I was like, the only reason I'm continuing to read is for this
because I have to
podcast.
show up, Dave.
But I'm not gonna Ninja Dave this and just try to BS my way through it.
Right.
But yeah, it's.
So my whole thing is I had read those things at some point.
Yeah, but you gotta refresh for the show so we don't sound like bumbling idiots.
And I have to apologize to my fans for that. Not necessarily you.
Hey, as long as there's an apology out there, I'm a fan of this show, so there you go. I'm still getting my apology.
Okay, fair enough. You listen. Make sure you put that like on there. We'll be all right. But yeah, this with
and make sure you subscribe to Pop Riga, sir. Become a patron.
I will.
Yeah, it's what were you gonna say?
The story was just so basic to me, and even though I was interested in the premise of essentially this is a patriot.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
it's Captain America. It's someone who has been crafted
Japanese Captain America.
Very similar to that, the soul of Japan. For someone who was supposed to be so patriotic, his faith was shaken
Quite
disturbingly easily.
Yeah.
And yeah, and even with Captain America, I feel his sense. I feel that struggle as a character, because he began as someone who was weak, who still wanted to uphold his ideals. He became stronger and still continued that road. He didn't become he did not become corrupted by that.
Yeah.
Rai is he's given that right off the bat. And we get the idea, the sense that he's just supposed to be patriotic. We don't have his reasoning behind it.
We really don't have a reasoning behind why he is so dedicated to Father.
Right.
And I think because we don't get that, his actions towards the end don't have much of an impact.
Yeah.
We don't get why he's so dedicated, so loyal, and B, we don't see him be loyal for too terribly long. So I think those two things combined, when he decides to make his own decisions, it's like, okay.
It hurts.
Yeah.
I went back and read the original Rai, and I'll newsflash, when the original Rai was going on, I didn't like that one either. for not the same reason. I mean, the controlling force is not father but grandmother in the original. He is, I think from the story, if I remember correctly, he was kind of the end result, or the most current result of the kind of the bloodshot program, the nanites and whatnot.
Okay.
That's why he also has that, because it's part of the process for infusing the nanites into the body. But that bloodshot program evolved into eventually this, because even in this series you get the Exo Man of War armors are being worn by just about everybody, So it didn't interest me because I couldn't connect with that character either.
Yeah.
And this new Rai kind of suffers from that same thing, if not worse.
Now, Matt Kent wrote this, and I mentioned up top that it seems like he's the writer of so much stuff going on in Valley. Matt Kent was the writer of the Divinity, which we covered. I think he was the writer. I enjoyed Divinity. He was the writer for The Valiant. He is the writer for Unity as well. Don't quote me on that. Yeah. But he is writing a lot of shit. Do you think just the workload that he took on might be one of the reasons why the quality of Rai is?
It might be one of the reasons, but I wouldn't say that's the main reason.
Back burner books.
It may not, and I say there's some characters that you can do things with and enhance and bring a different aspect to them. Because every time you have a new writer working on an established character, you're bound to have some hits and misses. Pardon me. But with the character of Rai, like I say, even going back to the original Rai, there wasn't much there.
Yeah.
It's not for me. If someone else may have picked up on something else, or someone it may have turned into something completely different as the story went on. But as the initial buy-in, I didn't get into the original Rai. I tried not to let that affect the current reading. And because it'd been so long since I read it.
Yeah, were you reading the original Rai as it was happening back in the 90s?
No. When it was happening in the 90s, I was reading it.
Yeah. I
just started reading it, but I was like, no, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And so when I started reading this, it's very different from the original Rai. But it's still not.
Still not for you.
Still not for me.
Yeah.
It's not pulling me in.
Do you think when they rebooted the whole Valiant universe that they kind of should have just left Rai where he was back in the 90s? Is he part of the group Unity?
I don't know if he's part of Unity because his character takes place in vastly.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. That wouldn't make any sense if he's in both.
So it's really weird because it's like he was disconnected from the main universe.
Yeah. Okay.
Dr. Solar kind of was, but Dr. Solar was like a Dr. Manhattan level character, so he could exist in all realities, all times, and that kind of stuff. So. But no, it's I'll say that the fact that he's writing so much that weakened the story, but also the character itself didn't seem to be reinvented in a significant way.
Yeah.
So it's a no-go for me.
Yeah, it's a no-go for me. This book will remain dusty on my shelf until the end of time.
You're not going to take it and trade it in somewhere?
Maybe I will.
Hand it out as a Halloween.
As a Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween.
Here, kids, check out Rai.
The Trick or Treat.
Volume 1.
This one's the trick.
That's the one for the asshole kid that's way too old to be out there.
Right.
Trick or treat.
Let me crush your soul. Read this.
Is there any redeeming qualities to this book?
The artwork looked good.
Okay.
It was passable. Again, it didn't make me want to phone home and be like, check out, you check out this, Marty,
your cousin Marvin Barry.
Right. But no, it just,
I like the concept behind the whole 4001 AD. Yeah. Japan is floating up there, still essentially an island of sorts, because it's just surrounded by space instead of surrounded by water. Right. But I just felt like, they could have done more with this concept. Yeah, put a different character in this concept. The concept is cool. Yeah. It's really cool. I mean, they got patriotism. You have the idea of being isolated. You have Earth is all ravaged. That's always a popular sci-fi trope. And for them to take those ingredients and make this cake, it's very bland. I'm just. It was a cake with no flavor. A cake with no flavor. They just gave you cupcake, no frosting. Yeah. I ate the muffin bottoms. Muffin bottoms. Not the tops. Nah, no one wants muffin bottoms. Well, that's I think a double no-go. We're starting the year with a double go and a double no-go. And the thing is, I'm not even crushed about that because the Rat Queens was so good. It balanced out the rat. It more than balanced out. It overcompensated. Yeah. I'm like, I still feel good about myself. Okay. Is there any time you read a comic and you felt bad about yourself? I'm sure there have been. You really put me on the spot. I'm trying to think of. Maybe the first time I read Low, I felt bad. But then, Chew. Well, somebody didn't even finish Chew, so. Other than again, I didn't finish Low either. I don't know. The thing is, I reread Low, and something clicked for me that second time. Oh no, the third time. You went back and you reread it. You snuck behind my back and you reread it. No. Because I said this before. I had read the book. I bought the book originally, and I started reading it. I was like, I'm not really feeling it. But then this show came around. I was like, no, I've got an excuse to really go back and really dig into this. And I dug into it. I was like, no. And then after the show, I had a little bit of reader's remorse, and I'm like, maybe I didn't give it a fair shake. Yeah. I went back and read it to completion, and it really opened up for me. It opened up for you. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't do that with you. Not gonna do it right. It's just I can't do it. Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. What do we have coming up next episode, sir? We have the S's. We have the S's. If we're following alphabets. If we're not, we've been following alphabets for 18 episodes. I mean, you have the Infinity Gauntlet. If you really want to alter reality and just jump around, we can get to the numbers. I mean, it's whatever you want to do. Let's do S's. Do S's. All right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. We'll keep it. We'll keep it standard. Yeah. My choice is Sea Guy. Sea Guy. And who published Sea Guy? Oh, I don't have. Like I said, I'm looking for that book. It was like sitting out, and I was like, I must give this to Daryl, and then it disappeared. Disappeared on you, huh? But Sea Guy, it'll take you on a journey. On a journey. Yeah. And I'm bringing another Image book to the table, Southern Bastards. Yes. Have you read this before? I have. All right, then. This will be my first time. Really? Yeah. Well, you're in for a ride. That's what everybody keeps saying. That's what was suggested to me at the comic book store. So we'll see how it goes. All right. I have some things to say about it. He has some things to say about it. Do you have anything else to say about this episode? This episode, I think I'm good. But talking about free comics, if you guys like free comics, check out vaultcomics.com. Oh yeah, I've talked to the guys at Vault before. Yeah. So, and they have a bunch of their number ones on their website. Free for download, free for reading. I've done that, and I'm going to go through and check them out and see if any of them might show up on this show. All right. Excellent. I didn't know they had number ones for free out there like that. Okay. a couple of the Vault creators there. Yeah. A couple of them on Twitter. All right, excellent. Yeah, go ahead and check out those dudes at Vault, and I'll be doing so when I get home from recording the show.
Excellent.
See what's out there, out and about. That's not a bad way of doing things. Mm-hmm. A bad way of ginning up business.
Hey, the pie is big enough for all of us to have a piece.
The pie is big enough. And Vault, if you want to sponsor this podcast, we'll do an all Vault episode.
An all Vault episode.
All right. You got any parting words there, Dave?
That's it for me. You guys just keep being good to each other.
Keep being good to each other in 2019. Keep reading comics.